young people, I tell the parents of young people that it's vital that, especially the young people today who are very quick on the phone, they're not afraid of their device, that they invest in their own skills, because when you pick up a skill, whether it's hanging sheetrock or understanding artificial intelligence or explaining to your grandpa how his engine works in his new car and what that big glass panel is in the front, those are skills that travel with you wherever. But oftentimes, particularly in the past, not so much now, but that's a different topic, students have asked about investing. I even had a couple of students in my senior class, the really bright ones, ask me about stocks, because people today think stocks equals investing. That's not really the case. And what I talked to them about very early is a conservative, boring, somewhat conspiracy theory laden investment in gold. And I've had boomers tell me that gold is, as John Maynard Keynes said 80 years ago, a useless or worthless relic. And Warren Buffett said gold doesn't do anything except collect dust. And it doesn't push out a dividend. And all these kinds of things. And okay, there are reasons why those people said those things. But if you're going to look at something to guide a younger person, I think it's a good idea to start with gold, because it is the probably only neutral reserve asset left. What do I mean? For many, many years, U.S. Treasuries were a neutral reserve asset, meaning the United States Federal Reserve would sell debt. That debt would then become an entry of money on the ledger. And those people who bought those treasuries would get their interest and their investment back guaranteed. It didn't matter what was going on in the world. It didn't matter who you were. And that's why you had places like Saudi Arabia and China and pretty much everybody else buying treasury debt, buying Federal Reserve debt. And so these treasuries were all over the world, and they were a neutral reserve asset. Well, what happened was the previous administration, the Biden administration, sanctioned Russia and took all of their stuff. And so Russian investments and their investments in treasuries and everything was taken, because Putin bad. Get that bad Putler and Russian aggression, right? All the stuff that you saw in the press. All of a sudden, Putin did an invasion of Ukraine as if it happened out of nothing, as if 2014 never happened. Victoria Nuland, the votes that were ignored, right? I mean, there's a huge story behind that. But, your garden variety American seal, meaning well-trained seal with a red, white, blue ball on its nose, pet, couldn't understand that. And the reason why I bring that up is because now you have the neutral reserve asset of U.S. Treasuries is now no longer the case. Because if you're a country or an investor or a company, and you're on the bad side of the United States government, this is how it's seen now. You're going to lose everything. Proof? Oh, what are you talking about, mister? Have you seen what gold costs? Gold is up to $3,400 an ounce. It wasn't a year ago. It was $2,600 an ounce. That's not a mistake. Gold, for many years, the gold standard is gold was the neutral reserve asset. You could get, for 20 American dollars for a very long time, you could get 1 ounce of gold. Then for another quite bit of long time, you had $32 to $35 an ounce, and you could get an ounce of gold. Now it takes 3,400 currency units of American currency unit to get an ounce of gold. The gold hasn't changed. It's the currency unit that's changed. And now that all of these things have happened, and all of this geopolitical nonsense has happened, as the American empire implodes, you're going to see things like gold skyrocket. And that's really the only one, in my opinion, the only thing that for now is worth, just on a casual basis, worth pointing a teenager towards investing. Look at gold, look at what it was, look at what it is, look at how it's invested, look at how people talk about it. I had an investing professional laugh in my face years ago when I talked about gold. I had my own guy who runs money suggest that I lower my exposure to gold. He's turned the tables because my buddy is my guy is smart and he understands, hey, if it's running, you run with it. You don't back away. And he acknowledged that I was right. But now you have gold probably only going up for a while anyway. It's hung at 3,400 an ounce for quite a while. And so when you talk about investing, what are you going to invest in? And I think gold is the way to go. And you'll be called a conspiracy theorist. You'll be called a lunatic. You'll be called anti-American, all of these things. And the Trump administration, to its credit, is trying to try to slow down the complete and utter collapse of the American empire. He's not doing a very good job at it, as we saw recently, right, with this nonsense of another round of sanctions against Russia. So stupid. But anyway, that's another topic. We're talking about young people and investing. And the two things, one of them is, I'll leave you with this. One of them is kind of a corny thing, that teacher talk type stuff, right? Where you invest in yourself, which is vital. You must get your teenager, or you, if you're the teenager, you need to stop doom scrolling or just nonsense scrolling on your phone. Do that for 30 minutes, maybe an hour a day at most. And the rest of the time, do something else with your phone. The other thing is, as parents, teachers, mentors, coaches, guides, what you need to do is have your students, your young person who's interested in investing, take a look at gold and ask yourself why 25 years ago you could get an ounce of gold for between $285 and $400. And now it's $3,400. Why is that the case? Gold hasn't changed. It's still an ounce of gold. There's no third party. There's no corporation. If you had an ounce of gold on your dining room table 25 years ago, it was $280 to $400 an ounce. Why is it now $3,400 and change when the gold is still the gold? So something has changed, and it's obviously the American dollar. And if you can understand that point, if the young person in your life can understand that, you've done a good job of teaching, and that other young person has really done a good job of learning. Thanks for joining. A couple of you are here just like last time. I really appreciate that. This is my second live ever on Substack. Hopefully many more. Talk to you soon.